So we've got Cade McNamara making his way to Iowa City. This was a quick decision on the part of Cade McNamara, which makes me think that either he really had this set out when he decided to transfer away from Michigan, or Cade and Iowa had discussions of this happening in the future. Either way, no matter how it came about, I think this is a good marriage for both teams. I think this is a guy in Cade McNamara that can fit into the offense that Iowa wants to run. Like when we talk about Cade McNamara, I talked about this in the video when he was entering the transfer portal. He's got a box that he's got to live within. Okay, you need a good running game. You need a solid defense. You can't put too much pressure on Cade McNamara. Iowa, I think, has the box checked for the running game. You look at Caleb Johnson this year as a freshman, ran really hard, ran really well, really came into his own late into the season as the top back in the Iowa backfield. And I think they're going to really try to build on that. Now, the offensive line is another big issue, okay, because this was an offensive line that wasn't great. This is not the normal Iowa offensive line that we usually see. So, can the addition of five-star Caden Proctor, can he come in and be a stud week one? Now, Iowa's offensive line, I think, did get better as the season went along, but this was still an Iowa offensive line that we're kind of putting some things together. So maybe in the offseason, if this offensive line can gel a little bit, Caden Proctor comes in and he's really good from day one, maybe that can make Cade McNamara feel a little bit more at home. I think that's what you got to hope if you're the Iowa coaching staff right now. But we talk about the box, and they're checking some boxes. Offensive line looks like it might be okay. You look at the running game, Caleb Johnson. Okay, that looks like it's pretty good. But there's a big box that gets wider and wider and wider every single day, and it's not checked. And it's the wide receiver. It's the people that Cade is actually going to throw the football to, right? Arlen Bruce, transfer portal. Keegan Johnson, transfer portal. Sam Laporta, graduate. So now you're kind of stuck in a situation. You got Luke Lachey at tight end, who I think is going to be a really good tight end, right? Tight end, you at Iowa. I think he can really be a good target down the middle of the field for Cade McNamara in the future at Iowa. But who do you have left to throw the ball to besides Brody Brecht and a couple of corn farmers at this point? Like, Iowa needs to utilize the transfer portal to be able to go out and grab some wide receivers and some playmakers, because I think we saw it this season, right? When Keegan Johnson wasn't in the lineup, this was an Iowa team that struggled, and I think, there was some blame on the offensive line. Spencer Petras, like there's Brian Ferentz. Look, there's blame to go around, but to be honest with you, not having Keegan Johnson, there weren't receivers that really stepped up a lot. So I think that's a big issue. Iowa needs to go into the transfer portal, grab one, probably two key wide receivers. But right now, if I'm a wide receiver looking to put up big numbers, maybe my bolster, win some games, bolster my stock for the NFL draft, become a good pro, I'm not sure if I'm going to Iowa. I'm not sure if I'm going into a Brian Ferentz offense. I think that's the way Arlen Bruce saw it. I think that's the way Keegan Johnson saw it. It's the Charlie Jones effect. And I think the effect really came into effect a lot this season with those two guys. So Iowa needs to go out. They need to find at least a couple of weapons. Okay, is Deontay Vines being your number one target? Is that going to be enough for Iowa to put something up on the offensive side of the ball? Well, that remains to be seen. So they need to go out and find some guys that can help Cade McNamara. I don't know if Iowa can go through another season where that tight end is the absolute number one guy. You need some other targets, especially at wide receiver, to help out Cade McNamara. He is going to be at his best on play action. Iowa next season is going to have to be able to run the football with Caleb Johnson. I think that's how going to be Cade. Like you look at, when they won the Big Ten championship at Michigan, you had Hassan Haskins and Blake Corum running the ball. You had a great offensive line. You had a good defense. And that's the box that Cade McNamara needs to live in. Would love to hear everybody's thoughts on this as we kind of go down the road with Cade McNamara being the quarterback at the University of Iowa.